voice in their head. I don't even want to be the voice in my own head, so definitely want to listen through the website. I can find that at avatarsradio.com/listen-online. That will give you a direct link right to the radio player on the website, which, by the way, is the place you can connect to us, whether you're in-game or out at any time. It is always on. Okay, so, yes, you're right. Woody does say 8 twice when he counts, and the other day I counted down 10, 9, 10, 8, 6, 3, 5, 1. You never know. We can't count. It's just something that DJs cannot do. Alright, so Net is all ready to prepare and start his class. He says today we will have a practical lesson, but first we shall start with some theory. Yay! So we're going to have a lot of reading to do. Did you guys do as I said? Bring your paper, something to write with, take notes. I know that the last couple weeks I've actually been taking notes just so that I can look back on them and see how I'm messing up, because I totally sunk. He continues on. I have mentioned in past lessons that today he will talk about stalking and combos. Stacking and combos. He's not going to talk about stalking. Stalking is for another lesson. Okay. Stacking allows you to combine glyphs to make a more powerful spell or attack. To stack spells, you can either press R and the number of the glyph you want to stack, or combine. So, I didn't know you could do that, see? I always thought you had to drag and drop them on each other. Or alternatively, you can simply drag and drop them over each other, which is faster in his opinion, especially if you want to stack more than 2 glyphs. It is the same with combos, only this time you combine different glyphs. See, I always thought about the dragging and dropping. I didn't know about the R and pressing another number. I've already learned something new. I actually find the dragging and dropping to be quite useful. And probably, yeah, everyone else is sitting down, so of course I'll stand up and dance, because that's just the kind of person I am. Alright, we are going to continue on right now. He says, some glyphs can be stacked to create a combo. His favorite example is Fire Arrow and Death Ray, which is Fiery Decay. And yes, that is actually my favorite combo as well. Fiery Decay is powerful fire dot. Damage over time. Remember, that is what a dot is. A damage over time. Combined with life transfer. Another might be Flame Fist plus Thrust. Smoldering Shiv. This is quite similar to Flame Fist. Only with this attack, you will also dot your target. What does dot mean again? Damage over time. That's right. It's kind of like a hot, only backwards. A hot is a heal over time. A dot is a damage over time. Useful information to keep in mind. Dot equals, okay. Thrust and double slash when combined, quadruple slash. 4 quick and powerful attacks with bladed weapons. There are many more combos, but many more are still missing, so he will not go into more detail in this particular lesson. As you can guess from the name, combos combine powers of the glyphs you have used to create them. See, I've actually created one, and I'm hoping it'll eventually get in. It was the Healing Rain or the Chaos Rain, where it's actually a healing spell using chaotic magic. I hope it gets put in. Anyway, as you can guess from the name, that's these are combining different glyphs. To see all available combos, press L. Select combos and make sure you have checked Show Unavailable Combos. You can also filter them by various skill trees. Now, if you follow the path of virtues, you should be aware that the Oracle is watching over you. Beware who you attack and why. Also, do not be a scavenger who loots the bodies of fallen guards and warriors. That loot belongs to the dead and their families, not to you. No, it belongs to me as long as I don't get caught. Nobody's gonna tell, right? I don't care what the oracle says. I'll poke her eyes out. Also, as he has mentioned in the past, be advised that damage to the back is higher. Do not let your opponent sneak on you from behind. So taking it from behind is going to hurt a lot more than taking it from the front. Because you can defend yourself when you're up front, okay? If you fight multiple opponents, stand with your back against a tree trunk, a rock, or a wall. Always protect your back end. What? It's true. You can't defend yourself if something is coming up behind you, because you'll have to quickly turn around. It gets very difficult. So now he's asking if there's any other questions. Questions are very important. If you have any, please make sure you ask them. Don't be shy. The only silly question is the one left unanswered or unasked because it cannot get answered, and then you just look silly by not knowing the answer because you didn't ask. Okay, so apparently there are no questions, but there you have it. If you have them, you really should ask, because who knows, somebody else later on might have the exact same question, and if you ask it, then they'll have their answer. It's awesome. You're helping out your fellow Britannian. Okay, so Net continues on. Allow to introduce you to some of the creatures you may encounter in New Britannia. The animals. These are not much of a challenge usually, but if you skin them, you can get valuable materials for crafting, be it for cooking, or animal hides, or even reagents. Rabbit, chickens, turkeys, and deer. None of these fight back. The deer can be tricky to kill because it does tend to run away. So Krillin did step up with a question, which is a great question. Back to the stacking. The stacking glyphs cost multiple focus, does double damage. So the answer to this, does stacking glyphs cost multiple focus? No, stacking actually lowers the focus cost. It costs less focus if you stack your glyphs than it does if you were to actually play them one after the other. So yes. Of course I had to mention sheep. Right? I love sheep, Athenal. I protect the sheep. Ask Smack, who I tried to smack around because he was butchering the ones in Owl's Head. You can kill any other sheep. Just leave the ones in Owl's Head alone. Just saying. Okay, so Nat continues on. Every stacked glyph adds 25% extra power or duration to the ability. So 5 stack is twice as powerful as original glyph. Right? Okay, so keep that in mind, that you want to stack. You want to make sure that you have these on top of each other because they're more powerful, they last longer, they're going to do a lot better for you. Alright, so Nat is continuing back to the animals to see what's going on. Wolves. These are pack animals. And awesome! I love wolves. Wolves are cared for. Large groups can be dangerous even for skilled adventurers. There are many kinds of wolves and related species in the New Britannia. The most dangerous are elder wolves or mythical obsidian wolves. On a side note, you can find these in this scene. So we are in Deep Ravenswood. You would be able to find the obsidian wolves somewhere in the Deep Ravenswood. Now, on to bears. Bears are rumored to be big and deadly animals. If you're new to these lands, there are various kinds of bears. All can knock you back. All like to drink beer and yell out something about fame and glory. Oh wait, wrong kind of bear. Okay. The most dangerous of the bears are the ones from the tavern. No, are bear patriarchs and obsidian bears, though he will admit he has not seen obsidian bears lately. Spiders. These can be small or large, brown or red. They have poison attacks and webs which root you to the spot. Large groups of spiders can be especially dangerous, and they're ugly. Anything with more than 4 legs just should not exist. Ugh. Scorpions. These have poison similar to spiders, but they cannot root you in the spot you're in. You should keep your distance from them. Okay? On to humans. Okay, so we already spoke about some of the humans, the bears, right? They're humans and they're pretty deadly. At least it's a rumor. Go to the Bears Tavern Brawl and you'll find out about that. These can be good or bad. You can negotiate with some. They use a wide variety of weapons and abilities, wear different armor and weapons. You can meet guards, bandits, prisoners, villagers, shopkeepers, even necromancers. You all probably know humans, so he's not going to go into detail on this. If you don't know what a human is, you should get out more. That is what he's saying. You really should get out more if you don't know what a human is. Reshaped humans. Okay, so the reshaped humans, if he's going to call an elf a reshaped human, I'm going to have to hurt somebody. Alright, hundreds of years ago, obsidians performed rituals changing humans into something else. He's getting into elves here. These can be good or bad. They are quite similar to humans in the wide variety of weapons they use and professions they occupy. Kobolds, for example, cunning creatures. Their minds are close to humans. In fact, the kobolds are who created the Aether Amplifier. Haha! They are clever. They are skilled crafters and formidable warriors. Their commanders are well aware of strategy and tactics. Elves, beloved, beautiful, mystical creatures who nobody should kill because they're wonderful. Oh, despite your experience, not all elves are evil. That's right. Do I look evil to you? Most of them are not really dangerous, but beware of their elite units. Those are highly trained warriors. Satyrs, big and dangerous warriors. Some people think they're stupid, but make no mistake, they are clever enough to learn magic. So we're on to the undead. The undead. That would be like Ravicus and... Wrong? Okay. Nobody's commenting on the fact if I look evil or not. I love you guys too. So, Ned says he's not convinced that all undead creatures are evil. Yet most of them are. I don't agree they're all evil either. Misunderstood? Maybe. Socially unknowledgeable? Maybe. Not evil. It is best to kill them with magic. Otherwise, they might come back to life. Life magic is especially powerful with the spell Banish Undead. Or it should be anyway. Skeletons. They are similar to humanoid creatures. They can be footmen, archers, or even mages. Zombies. He cannot tell you much about them. He's heard rumors of them, but has not seen any himself. So, we all know that we've all learned their dance. Okay, so apparently somebody decided to call me. It's Spoonie. Here we go. Liches, powerful warriors and mages. You need to be careful if you have to deal with more than one. Unless it's Ravicus, then I can deal with many of them. Ghosts, strong creatures capable of draining life of mortals. Beware of them and deal with them quickly. They use death magic. They suck the life right out of you. They do. Okay. Magical beings. We're currently up to these. We're discussing the different creatures that you could run into in the environment. For those of you just tuning in right now, this is the part of the class that Net is going over. You can feel free to join us in, of course, Deep Ravenswood. Feel free to zone in on Net and join the class. You're never too late. So, Net has continued on with the magical beings. These beings are very different, yet none of them could exist in the world without magic. Slime. Vulnerable to magic damage. Physical attacks will make it split. In other words, it just pisses them off. So don't smack them. Shoot them with magic. Chest and barrel mimics. A real danger for greedy and careless adventurers. Elementals. Powerful magical beings. They tend to be immune to their element. You cannot kill fire elemental with fire, for example. Right, but you should be able to kill them a lot more with water. I don't know if they've actually implemented that the opposite thing actually affects them more and does more damage to them, but that is something that should be a thing if it's not already a thing. Obsidian golems. Do not know much about them. They seem related to earth elementals, though. Okay, so clockwork. Watchers. Servants and spies of the oracle. Gathering intel for it. They will observe you, but they pose no threat as they do not attack. They are sneaky little things, however. They really are. I agree with you, Luca. And they look like the little robotic spiders. I'm sure you've seen them everywhere. They freak me out. I just want to step on them and squish them and do the zombie dance or the jig or something all over them. Make them like 20 sizes bigger than they really were. Because that's what you should do with a spider. How do you beat a spider? You take a flamethrower to it. Okay, continuing on. Cave rat. He thought about putting them under animals, but their bodies disappear if you kill them, which is really weird. It really is weird that they do. So, the flesh flare. Novian academics still argue whether they are plants or animals, mutated by shardfall magic, or some sort of life form from Daedalus itself. Either way, these things are deadly. They cannot move, but are great for advanced PvE practice. They are nasty. It's like the New Britannian version of the Venus flytrap. I'm not going to tell you where I brought the last person that upset me, but all I can say is the plant was then saying, "Feed me, Ember, feed me more," and I had to go kill a dentist. Anyway, we're going to go on. Dragons. You may have seen their skeletons in Wormsands or Deep Ravenswood. They have not been seen in decades, but there are an increasing number of rumors about the return. You should not approach them alone, and it is best not to approach them at all. Dark Archlepin, of death and destruction. This innocently looking rabbit living in spectral mines will provide you with the most challenging fight in New Britannia. It is heard that his weakness is Sacred Oracle Orb of Obliteration. You can get some of the Odd Magics in Ardoris. You can get some from the Odd Mage in Ardoris. Yes, you can. Otherwise known as the Holy Hand Grenade. Just saying. Right. Here's something else to note. After you kill this vicious bunny, you will get a whole 10 experience points. The Dark Archlepin of Death and Destruction is worth only 10 XP. That should cover the various creatures you can meet. Now, where to find interesting and challenging fights? Chilbane's Compendium of Pain and Suffering in Braemar. This dungeon has almost everything. It is suitable for avatars of all levels. You start with easy enemies, but they are more and more powerful the deeper into the dungeon you go. Shardfalls. Despite being flagged as PvP areas, these scenes have one of the most challenging PvE fights, The loot from the flesh flyers is also unique. Keep that in mind. You can only get the loot from the flash flares from the flares themselves. Ravenswood and nearby swamp. These scenes differ in difficulty. Deep Ravenswood and Mysterious Swamp are most rewarding if you can survive there. The Greymark Forest. You can find lots of unskilled elves here. Vertus Pass. If you want to match your strength against elite elvish warriors, you should visit this scene and try to make friends with them because they're very nice and elves are not evil. Just say it. Brightbone Pass. You can meet elite skeleton warriors here. You can even meet liches there, Net. There are liches in the Brightbone Pass. Just saying. The Catacombs. A series of dungeons in the Hidden Vale and Novia. You can find a great lot here as well as challenging fights. You need to keep your eyes open for hidden entrances though. That's right, you have to break down parts of the wall. You thought you were at a dead end? Nuh-uh-uh, you missed a secret little spot in the wall. That's why they're called catacombs. Also, the system of catacombs can be used for fast travel. The tunnels under rivers and mountains can be traversed in a short time. So now Net is asking for more questions. Do you have any questions on the critters, on the places? Have you any questions on anything at all? Keeping in mind, don't be shy. We actually want you to ask the questions because that saves us from having to do it. Ria, of course, asks, where are the dragons? You know, when you point me to a dragon, I'll be really happy because I haven't seen one either. I've seen their bones, but I haven't seen them. I'm wondering, are they extinct? So apparently Net says they are 2 months of flight away. So they're coming in. They're coming in slowly. Wings are flapping and they're trying. It'll take about maybe 2 or plus months for them to get here. Now, there are a bunch of questions coming in. Bria says, how do you use combat pets? And Athenal, I did not see anything about pigs. Although I can tell you all about the male ones. We will leave that for a different discussion. Right, Ned says no, he has not mentioned every single animal. And Ria's still asking about the combat pets. Ned has also not mentioned coyotes either. Those are similar to wolves. Sophie yells out, alligators. And, of course, this is the one for the pigs, which I don't say it nearly as well as Lady Addie does, but we all here at Avatars Radio know that you gentlemen like your bacon. Bacon. I prefer my pigs alive because animals are our friends. That's why I'm a vegetarian. Except for bear. I eat bear. I should have probably kept that in my inside voice. Anyway, Ned has not met alligators yet. He believes they live in Novian swamps. And I'd like to welcome Thaddeus and Edward, who's joined our class today. Welcome, both of you. So we are... Oh, and Dinsu is here as well. So this is a fantastic class. Still more questions being asked. If you have any, please ask them. Net will do his best to answer them. And, of course, except for bear. We have to eat bear. And liches. What? Athenal's glaring at me. I don't know what I did wrong. Gabriel's a bear. Am I not allowed to eat? Never mind. Anyway. Oh, wow. Net still does not know what the 50 Shades of Bacon are. He thinks they're some kind of pinkish red. Well, we will have to resolve that, won't we? Lady Addie so says bacon so much better than I do. So apparently, no, I don't see sheep being asleep. Danon asked, are the sheep perpetually asleep for anyone else? I've never actually seen the sheep sleeping. They're actually quite mobile in Owl's Head, at least the last time I was there. Actually, Athenal, I love his base. Have you guys checked out the basement of Athenal's place? You definitely need to, because I really like his meat man. That was pretty epic. Yeah. Beware the meat man, as Thamo says. And Blake, yes, you're right. That bacon was pretty hot. She's really good with her voice. My voice, not as nice as hers, but I do my best. We're always on their sides. Okay, Dana said they're always on their sides for him. Oh, yes. Those ones are sleeping, but probably because they're forever sleeping. Somebody probably killed them. Okay. Net says, well, now at this point he had 3 volunteers who would show you how beginners deal with wolves. Unfortunately, none of them could come. So, who would have thought that none of them would join us? Right? Especially the one that I volunteered to be sacrificed. Jackknife, I was really hoping he would be here so we could sacrifice him. But unfortunately, I guess that virtue got thrown out the window today. Can't sacrifice anybody. Darn it. I'm very strong on the virtue of sacrifice, by the way. If I don't like you, I will sacrifice you. See? I'm strong with that virtue. So anyone else here who is level 10 to 30? Zemo says he's slightly higher than level 30. Just slightly. And Rhea said that she was not allowed to stay that low. Woody is, however, level 5. Apparently, he does not get from behind his bar very often, and so has not actually needed time to pick up a weapon. So, he could be sacrificed. We can sacrifice him. That would be okay, maybe, possibly. Who knows? Okay, so, however, he does make killer drinks, so maybe we shouldn't sacrifice him, otherwise I may have to pay my bar tab. Maybe I should just start going to the Bear's Tavern more often, and then when we sacrifice Woody, it won't hurt as much. Just thinking. Okay. Net asked Woody what his deck is like. Random, full of death touch. Is it random or full of death touch? And Woody said he has a locked deck. So he doesn't do what some of the others do, where you can have 2 types of decks, as we learned in past classes. You can have the ones that, revolve out in and randomly card selection, or you can have what is considered lovingly the Dallas deck, which is locked, and you always know what cards you're going to get there. Of course, with a locked deck, it costs more in focus, and you're probably going to run out of focus a lot quicker, and it does not do nearly as much damage. Those are a couple tricks to learn. They don't do as much damage, and they do take more focus. Okay. Let's see what's going on. Even Athenal said even he does not drink that much to what? Eat Woody? Well, okay. So we are continuing on with trying to find 3 volunteers. If you're willing to volunteer yourself, you are between level 10 and 30, then please let him know so that he can proceed with the second half of his class. I'm going to play a little bit of music and get myself a drink. My throat, it needs to be, I need to be very careful, otherwise I won't be commentating for the Bear's Tavern on Sunday, and yeah, they might have to smack me upside the head or fire me or something. I'll be right back. got my throat a little more relaxed, which is very good. Still looking for volunteers for this fantastic second part of the class. Took a moment to go looking outside the door of the class into the studio. Jackknife, put your elite unit away. I do not want to see it. Just saying. I caught that. I did not miss that. So Matt is saying, telling us about places where we can hunt. At level 5, it is better to group up. You can fight solo, but it becomes quite difficult. And at level 20, 30, and 40, depending on your capabilities, you can fight alone very well. At higher levels, you can fight alone multiple enemies at once with an area of effect spell and or ability. Another useful thing you should know about, many scenes have resurrection ankhs. This scene has one on the other side of the map. So if you die, you need to find yourself an ankh to be resurrected, and then you can come back to your body. This is actually what they're planning to do in the future. For those of you that had family or history, ancestors in Old Britannia, you may remember stories of how when they fell, they would have to run every which way to find a wandering healer and then run back to their body to pick up their items. This is going to be quite similar, except you have to find an ankh and then you run back to your body. He says if you die and as ghosts travel to it, you get resurrected with full health and focus. So he's now asking if anyone wants to see it. And a couple people are saying yes. And as we make our way over there, I'm going to play some more music. And we'll venture on over there and see what we can see. So everyone is to now follow Matt over to the Ankh. As we head over there, a great battle with skeletons breaks out. This is exciting and great for this class. it has been brought to our attention that you can only find the Ankh if you are dead, and he cannot currently find it nor remember where it is. So there has been a suggestion that we call one and only out so that he may perform his favorite act, and that is mass homicide and killing every single one of us. That would be exciting, and then we can actually see the Ankh. However, others are voicing that they would rather not have one and only join us. I kind of am all for the mass sacrifice. Again, virtue of sacrifice very high for me, and I believe that sacrificing each and every one of you is not a bad thing. It's just following the virtue of sacrifice. Is that not what it was intended to do? I do believe so. Alright, so we are still following around. Ned is... where is he? I do not know. He's over here. Okay, so the group of people are over here now. If you have lost us, feel free to zone in on any of us, and you will be able to not see the Ankh because we are not dead. Just saying. But at least you will now know where the location of it is. They are still killing each other to see the Ankh. So come, join us on the fight of killing each other so that we too can see the Ankh that is invisible to the living. Interesting. Very, very interesting. Right now here in Deep Ravenswood, this is rather interesting. There is now a rock just by the Ankh, the Resurrection Ankh, that is now being dubbed Suicide Rock. For those of you not in PvP mode, you're able to jump to the top of this rock and then jump off of it, where you can proceed to commit suicide. Fantastic! So you are sacrificing yourself. Wonderful. Now keep in mind that if you have your weapon drawn, your regeneration rate will in fact be a lot slower than if you have your weapon away. So if you're trying to commit suicide, whip out your weapon and proceed to jump like a lemming, following everyone to their death. And then you too will be able to take a look at the Ankh. That, or you can wait until a later time when you are actually here fighting critters and you die because they eat you, and then come find the Ankh at that time. But this is fantastic. They're all a bunch of lemmings. This is what Order does. Okay, this is also not just a class on PvE. This is a class on Order and Chaos, apparently. Please come follow me and jump off this cliff. That's Order. Chaos says, I don't think so. I'll just stand here and watch you guys be foolish. See? That's the difference between Order and Chaos. Oh my. Alright, so that is great. A bunch of crazy people just committing suicide so they can see an Ankh. It's great. If you're missing out on this activity, you should come join. Either point and laugh or become a lemming yourself. Either way, it is great fun. We have a couple people who actually did get to see it, so that's great. I will wait until a future date when I'm out here killing liches or something, and I will see it at that point. I don't feel like dying today. Today is not a good day to die, so I prefer not to. And yes, as Athenal said, they are failing to kill themselves. Many of them forgot that they should put their weapon out instead of keeping it in, and they were failing to kill themselves. This is the type of people that need work on their combat and their suicide abilities. Failing to kill oneself. Shame. Shame. So this is fantastic. At least now we know where the location of the Ankh is if we could see it. Yes, Luca has a point. It would have been much easier to just challenge someone to a duel. And those who are marked PvP would have been even easier that way if you just beat each other up. But the whole jumping from a rock was rather... A rock. We're all jumping from Simo. Right. From jumping from a rock was much more amusing. So I have to respond to something, a little more music while we figure out what everyone is doing. Okay, alright. So Net is going to continue very, very shortly. In fact, I think he's done laughing and pointing at everyone failing to kill themselves. I do have to ask though, the basement of Athenal's place has a meat body there. I'm wondering if he ended up getting the pieces for that from people who jumped off Suicide Rock. Curious. Possible. And if you haven't seen it, you definitely need to go into the basement at Athenal's. Just pre-prepared that you might find your body also on the table. Alright, so Net continues. The next lesson will happen at the Brave Coast. Keeping in mind that the next lesson of classes is going to be next week at the exact same time, and it is going to be covering PvP. What? It is going to be covering PvP. Sorry, I just had somebody yell at my name. Oh, apparently it's not just one meat man anymore in Athenal's basement. I have to take a trip over there and see it. Want to say, Net says, thank you all for coming to this lesson. Once again, huge thanks to Arianna for recording and Raine for commentary. I would like to thank Net personally on behalf of all of us for letting Avatars Radio first commentate and share the class with you, but most importantly for doing this for those of us who really, really are terrible at fighting our ways out of paper bags. I'm one of them. How I got to level 75? Don't ask. I just know I suck at fighting. So, this was great and this was fantastic. Thank you all. Gonna play a few more community tracks while we find out what else we're doing. Keep in mind that next week, Friday, 3 p.m. New Britannia time, Brave Coast. The next lesson for the Novian Academy, taught by Net, will be Combat PvP. Hope you'll all join us then.